Creamer Media's Mining Weekly is talking to Arne Frandsen, the managing partner and co-founder of the Pallinghurst Group. Arne also chairs Sedibelo Platinum Mines Limited in South Africa's northwest, as well as the New York and Toronto listed Novomont Graphite, which operates out of Quebec in Canada. In Canada, Arne has spent years co-developing a strategy to deliver a zero-carbon battery-grade graphite mine. And in South Africa, he's overseeing the building of a platinum group metals operation that is poised to be one of the greenest that we've seen. This month, yet another boost for Quebec graphite was brought about by Novomont Graphite and Mason Graphite, clinching an investment agreement. Arne, what motivated this agreement between Novomont and Mason, and what will it mean for a greening North America?
Well, Martin, I think it's a very important deal. If you look at benchmark minerals, they say that there are two deposits of world-class size in North America. One is our deposit in Novomont, as you talked about, the Babushi deposit, and the second one is Mount Mason. So what we have done now is we have tied those two up, and subject to shareholder approval, which should be coming in the next few weeks, then we have a deal where we as Novomont is in charge of the two largest world-class deposits in North America. So what it will allow us to do in North America is to provide the battery platform with green graphite that can be used in the batteries.
And update us too on your other activities. Nemaska Lithium. What does that provide?
Well, we have been very active, as you said, Martin, in Quebec. We formed a very good relationship with the government and the equivalent of the IDC called IQ in Quebec, and together we are striving at creating the North American battery materials platform in Quebec. And it has been a lot of hard work, a lot of great cooperation with the government of Quebec. And what we are doing now is that we have in a place called Bécancour, we have now already built the first part of Novomont's graphite anode material plant. And we have cut the ribbon for starting the thing for Nemaska Lithium, as you mentioned. Both materials are critical for battery making, and both activities that we are commencing there will secure that the battery materials platform in North America for EVs will be based out of Quebec.
And late last year, you also bought nickel, copper, and cobalt, and you brought those into your group. To what extent do those critical metals round off Pallinghurst's overall offering to the unfolding green economy?
I think that was the missing part of the stool, so to say, Martin. You have the three legs, and having graphite, you can't have a battery without an anode, and an anode can't be made without graphite. So we ticked that. And in the nearly whatever form of chemicals you want to have in a battery, lithium is going to play a very critical role. I mean, you could just look at the periodic table, you see where lithium sits. And unless you start finding new elements in the world, then it will always have a very critical part of any battery. And in securing that, we secured in the cathode part of the battery one of the critical building blocks. And as you have seen the way that lithium has performed, I mean, it has been the sterling outperformer of all commodities. So I think we got that one right. And then the thing that we missed was really the other elements of the cathode, and that was the nickel, and it was the copper, and it's the cobalt. And we spent a lot of time, the Pallinghurst team has been plowing around in Canada and in the US to find the right deposit. And in Talon and in the underlying Tamarack project, where we are partners with Rio Tinto, we have found for sure the best US deposit of those polymetallics. And as you saw earlier in the year, we made the first of its kind offtake agreement with Tesla, which means that the Austin plant will benefit from the material that we're going to mine in Minnesota.
Turning to South Africa, how much of the Kell plant, that revolutionary Kell plant, has been built in Johannesburg so far, and what are your expectations from Kell?
Well, my expectations are great, Martin, and I think justifiably so. We made the decision to build the Kell plant. We have commenced building it, so it's no longer a question about will we build it, we are building it. And by the end of not next year, but the following year, we should be at nameplate capacity. So it really is an important move. It will set us apart from our, call it peers or competitors, it depends on how you look at it, from the fact that we won't have smelters, but we will have the Kell process. They use 80% less electricity. So why should Eskom build another coal-fired power station to fuel the smelters if you can go by a Kell process? I'm sure that is the right decision for the society of South Africa, and it's the right decision for Eskom, and it's for sure the right decision for anyone who wants green platinum.
And in March, you appointed the JOHI Sturdy Energy Consortium to supply 75 megawatts of solar and wind energy to Johannesburg. When will that renewable energy come through, and what benefits will it bring?
Well, it will bring two benefits. The Kell process lowers the overall need for electricity by 80%. So now we only have 20% left. And what we have entered into now as a first step is buying into existing solar and wind renewable energy. So whilst we are not directly using the electricity, we are supplying that into the grid and taking it off the grid. So from a balancing point of view, we are starting off from the notion that we will not be reliant on coal-fired power plants. And the next step, Martin, which is really important, is that on our land around the mine, we will build a solar facility that directly will be able to provide us with the electricity that we need. So you can say it all is kind of links on a chain. We go with a lower electricity requirement. We then buy into existing solar and wind. We then build our own thing. So my objective is very clear. I want to be off the grid. I want to be able to produce platinum in a sustainable fashion with no tapping into the grid, and hence being able to deliver you an ounce of green platinum with no carbon footprint.
That'll be amazing. Really what we need, especially platinum needs it because it is associated with going green. So it has to be green itself. And is green hydrogen also on the cards at Johannesburg?
Absolutely. I mean, it's in for a penny, in for a pound. I mean, when you are in for building, we will be building capacity beyond what we need directly in our mine and our processing plants and Kell. So green hydrogen is obviously a logic next step. And as you know, we hired our chief ESG officer, Lyle Bethlehem, and she's got great experience in renewable energy, and she's very keen on and focused on the green hydrogen path. So we definitely see Sedibelo playing a very important part of South Africa's effort for green hydrogen, and we for sure will be lifting our weight, and we'll make sure that we contribute to a greener South Africa.
And would that be in the mobility sense? So, you know, your haul trucks, would they then be powered by green hydrogen?
That would be the ultimate solution, Martin. I mean, it obviously is not a one-year project, but if you don't, I mean, you know the story about how you eat an elephant. I mean, it is happy for happy, and that's the way we have to do it. We are going down a process that will allow us to produce green hydrogen. We go down a path that will allow us to produce a carbon neutral ounce of platinum. These things are the right things to do. And we have no vested interest. Many other of our competitors have spent billions on building the smelters. And as you know, there are very few turkeys voting for Christmas. So we obviously are going down the path ourselves. And we will be welcoming any other like-minded mining company that sees the merit in presenting a green alternative from PGM mining.
And those three letters, ESG, I mean, we're seeing them constantly, we're hearing them constantly, but I don't know if anyone has taken that firm step of actually appointing a CEO of ESG, an ESG CEO. And so is that paying off? Is it bringing the intensity that you need for the platinum mines?
Listen, absolutely. We have it. You have to do more than just do the talk, Martin. And if you mean this seriously, which we do, we need to create a commitment to ESG and not just ticking boxes. Ticking boxes has never gotten the mining industry anywhere. You need to be visionary, you need to do the right things, and you need to do things that people can relate to. And it doesn't work putting a lot of sulfur into the air or burning a lot of coals and all of that in order for you to produce an ounce of platinum that we can put into a fuel cell so you can drive around in London and not pollute, but you are polluted in South Africa. It doesn't work like that. So I think it is a change of mindset. It is a commitment to change. And Martin, it goes way back to some of the discussions you and I have had years back, 2 or 3 years ago, where you ask, what does it take for the mining industry to become the darling of the investment industry? Well, it takes that we do the right thing and we show the commitment to doing it. People are tired of just hearing words.
Absolutely. We've spoken a lot about the E in ESG, but what about the S? What direct benefits are you bringing to the communities of South Africa's Northwest and Canada's Quebec?
Well, we have a firm community program where our host community are direct shareholders, are direct beneficiaries of what we are doing. As you know, in South Africa, the community, the Bahatla community in which we are operating, they own more than a quarter of the shares in the company directly unencumbered for the benefit of all the community. Our mining operation is hiring 1,800 people. 2/3 of them are coming from our local community, and nearly 30% are women. We will now when we go underground, we will more than double that amount of people that we will be employing, and that again will be benefiting the local community. We're also trying to do procurement out as much as possible out of the community, but it has always been a very healthy relationship, and it has been a relationship of mutual respect. So we will continue doing more of the same. When it comes to Canada, on our Nemaska lithium project, we are part of the First Nation, the Cree First Nation. And again, we entered as one of the first mining companies of our kind. We entered into an agreement into perpetuity that will benefit the community, both financially, but also through job creation and wealth sharing.
There is a carbon sink that you've got with trees in Canada.
Very much so. I mean, we have, I mean, Canada, Quebec is vast, as you know, and a lot of the areas are covered by trees. So we will have carbon catchment coming from that. But also quite interesting is what we're doing with our nickel in Minnesota, because we are now going to catch and store carbon underground in our mining shafts, and that is a very interesting process. And if that turns out to be successful, and we're doing it in a partnership with Rio Tinto, so some good minds and some good capital behind it, I think we will certainly see that the mining industry could act as as a positive contributor to the overall carbon footprint. And I think that's the way we need to think, Martin. We need to think how we can play a relevant role. How can we be relevant in the world going forward? Because just to have an EV car, but all the material going into the EV car has been extracted in a non-responsible manner, that does not solve the overall problem.
And Arne, in a nutshell, what in your view should be the key takeaway from this interview?
I think the key takeaway is, Martin, that if you put your mind to it and you're committed to what you're saying, it can be done. We have been very fortunate in having the IDC as a partner, and many of the efforts that we have commenced on over the past decade has been with the government as a partner. And we have been fortunate in that, but we have also actively worked on that relationship. So I think that if the companies take their responsible role, if the community take their responsible role, and if the government take their responsible role, we can actually create something that is best of class globally. And we have that ability in South Africa. We should just believe a little bit more in ourselves.
That was Creamer Media's Mining Weekly, talking to Arne Frandsen, the managing partner and co-founder of the Pallinghurst Group.